Hi everyone, welcome back to this video tutorial. We can discuss some more basics of computers in this video. First of all, we can discuss about the computer hardwares. Hardware refers to the physical components of a computer. Computer hardware is any part of the computer that we can touch these parts. We can touch and feel the presence of the components of a part. Such part of the computer is known as the computer hardware. These are the primary electronic devices used to build up a computer. Examples of computer hardware are the processor, the memory devices, monitors, printers, keyboard, mouse, etc. Next is about the computer software, a set of instruction that drives the computer to do stipulated task. A specific task is called a program. Set of instruction that drives the computer to perform a specific task. Such set of instructions are named as a program. Software instructions are programmed in a computer language and translated into machine language and executed by the computer. Okay, so set of instructions that drive the computer to perform a specific task is known as program. The program itself is known as the computer software. Okay, so the software instructions are programmed by using any of the computer language, and these languages are translated into machine language. Machine language means the binary equivalent of the exact program code, that is the only language understood by the computer system. Okay, so before starting the execution, we need to convert the computer program into its machine language equivalent. Then the computer can execute the program and generate the respective result. Okay, so some examples of computer softwares are MS Word application, Excel application, PowerPoint application, Google Chrome search engine, and Photoshop, MySQL database, etc. Okay, many others softwares are also familiar with you. So these are some examples only. Okay, so this computer softwares can be categorized into two types like system software and application software. So this is a system software. System software is a type of software which is the interface between application software and computer system. Okay, system software is a set of instruction. This type of softwares actually act as an interface between the application software with the system. These softwares support the proper execution of any kind of application software over a given computer system. Okay, system software is a general purpose software which is used to operate computer hardware. So with the help of this system software, any kind of application software can run over the computer system and easily access the various hardware components interconnected with the computer system. It provides platform to run application software. Without system software, a system cannot run. Okay, actually the system software is a type of software act as an interface, and it support the execution of various application software and help it to access various hardware components connected with the computer hardware. So from this it is clear that without system softwares, a system can't run, or without the help of system software we can't execute any application software over our computer. So one main example for such a system software is our operating system. An operating system is a program that acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware, and it controls the execution of all kinds of programs. Okay, so operating system is a best example or the main example for a system software. It acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware and controls the execution of all kinds of programs, and it performs all type of system management activities. Operating system is a software which perform all the basic tasks like file management, memory management, process management, handling input and output units, and controlling peripheral devices like disk drivers, printers, keyboards, mouses, and etc. Every type of devices, every memory units, and every type of process, and everything is managed by our operating system. Now we can consider some examples for this operating systems. Laptops, tablets and desktop computers all run over an operating system like Microsoft, Windows operating systems like Windows XP, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, etc. I think all these are familiar with you people. Next, about the Apple Mac OS. These are the basics for or basic operating system that support laptop, tablets and other desktop computers of Apple based systems. Okay, we have some other operating systems like Chrome operating system, BlackBerry tablet operating system, etc. And one most popular another operating system is the Linux operating system, and we are available with various flavors of the Linux operating system. They are actually the open source operating system. What do you mean by this open source? Open source software means people can modify or a programmer can modify and share such operating system because its design is publicly accessible by the programmer. Okay, so this Linux type operating systems are open source operating system because its actual design is publicly available and programmer can modify as their wish. But Microsoft Windows operating system and Apple Mac operating systems, these type of operating systems are not open source operating system. A programmer can't modify such such operating system with the wish. But a Linux based operating system is the best example for an open source operating system. The programmer can modify and make certain changes as the wishes over the operating system because the design is publicly available for the programmer. Now certain other operating system that support the running of smartphones like Apple iOS operating system support iPhone and Google's Android operating system. These are some smartphone based operating systems. Next, two other important system software are compiler and interpreter. Compiler and interpreter are two different ways to execute a program written in a programming or a scripting language. Okay, so this compiler and an interpreter, these two are another example for system software. These are actually used for supporting the execution of a program which is written in a high level programming language. Okay, and what is the difference between this compiler and interpreter? A compiler task or the compiler takes the entire program and converted into its object code or machine code equivalent, which is typically stored in a form of file. An interpreter directly execute instruction written in a programming or scripting language without previously converting them into an object code or machine code. That is the difference. The functionality are almost same, but the way of performing the function is different between compiler and interpreter. Compiler takes the entire program and as a whole converted into its machine code equivalent, then start the execution. But in case of interpreter, it does not convert the whole program as a whole into machine code equivalent. It just convert line by line each instruction and execute that instruction. Okay, so compiler convert the program as a whole into its machine code first, then start the execution. But in case of interpreter, it just simply convert a single line of code into its machine code equivalent and execute that, and repeat with next instruction and stop where an error occur. Okay, so now we can consider some more differences between this interpreter and compiler. This interpreter translate program one statement at a time to its machine code, statement by statement conversion into its machine code, and execute that instruction. But compiler scans the entire program and translate it as a whole into machine code, then start the execution. It takes less amount of time to analyze the source code, but the overall execution time is slower. Okay, so here interpreter takes less amount of time to analyze the source code, but overall execution time is here at a slower. It takes large amount of time to analyze the source code because it convert the program as a whole into machine code first. Okay, so it takes more amount of time to analyze the entire source code, but the overall execution time is comparatively faster. After completing the machine code conversion, it simply execute the program. But here it convert line by line and analyze each of the statements separately and execute each statement one after another. So it takes, or it is comparatively slower, but compiler is comparatively faster. No intermediate object code is generated here, because here it convert each line to machine code, then execute that statement. So as a whole, after completing this conversion, we can't get any whole object code equivalent. So here no intermediate object code is available. Just perform the conversion of each line of instruction and execute that. But here it generates intermediate object code which further requires linking, hence requires more memory. Okay, here it convert into object code, intermediate object code. Then after converting into object code, it performs certain linking activity with library functions and all and start the execution. So after generating the object code, we need to store that object code somewhere. Okay, so it requires more amount of memory, but here it does not generate any intermediate object code, so we need no more memory to store the generated object code. Okay, continuous translating the program until the first error is met. Okay, in which case if there exists an error in any of the step, it stops the conversion. Hence debugging is easy. Correct? That means continuous this activity of translating into machine code one line after another. If there occurs an error, if there identify the presence of an error in particular instruction line, then it stops the conversion procedure. So this interpreter actually support the debugging activity easily. We can easily find out the error in a particular line of program code easily in case of interpreter, right? But it generates the error message only after scanning the whole program. Hence debugging is comparatively hard in case of compiler type activity. Okay, because compiler actually convert the whole program into object code. Then only it generate generate a message indicating if there exists an error in any particular statement or not. Okay, so it takes, or it is experienced like an hard activity in case of compiler. That means it is experienced, the debugging is comparatively hard in case of compiler. But here it perform line by line conversion. So whenever it find a particular errors presence, then it directly generate the message. Okay, and stop the conversion. Okay, so debugging is simple in case of interpreter and is comparatively hard in case of compiler activity. Programming language like Python, Ruby, etc. follow this interpreter way of execution. And programming languages like C, C++, etc. follow compiler type activity. Okay, so these are some basic examples or differences between interpreter and compiler. These two are actually meant for a simple purpose, converting into machine code in order to support the execution, but the way of conversion is different in between interpreter and compiler. So next is about the application software. We have already discussed three types of system softwares like operating system, interpreter and compiler. Some other system softwares are also available like linkers, loaders, etc. Okay, now we can consider application software. Application software is a specific purpose software which is used by user for performing a specific task. System softwares are actually used for supporting the execution of any kind of application or software with the help of a computer system. So the application software actually used by the user as with their wish or with their requirement, and we can or a programmer or a user can run different application software using a computer system. And the running of such application software is supported by various system softwares. It runs on the platform which is provided by the system software. High-level languages are used to write the application software. It is a specific purpose software. System softwares are actually general purpose software. It supports all type of application software execution, and this application softwares, each of these application software are meant for a specific purpose. So they are specific purpose softwares. The main difference between system software and the application software is that without the system software, a system cannot run. On the other hand, without application software, we can run a system. So just imagine that without system software, we can't use a system for or a computer system for performing, or we can't use a computer system as our wish without the help of system software. But these application softwares are special function software, special purpose softwares. We can use different application software, and this application software are user dependent. We can use different application software as our wish. Okay. So this is the diagrammatic representation of our system. We have different electronic devices that form the computer system like CPU, disk, mouse, printers, etc. Over this hardware, we have the system software like operating system, interpreter. Sometimes we use interpreter or sometimes we use the compilers. We have linkers, loaders, etc. All these form the system software part. And over this system software, we can run many application software with user demand. Okay, as user requested for certain application software execution, we can which is supported by this system software of our computer system. We can use any kind of application software like games, computer games, spreadsheets, word processing application, databases, and internet browsing application, all kind of application as our wish. We can run all these kind of application as our wish with the help of this system software. Okay, with the presence of this system software, all these kind of application software can make use various kind of hardwares of our computer system. Okay, so all these are about the softwares of our computer system. Basically, we have two type of software: system software and application software. System software actually act as an interface between the external to internal of our computer system, which support the activities that is taking place over a computer system. And the application softwares are the specific function, special purpose softwares. We can use various application as our demand. Okay, thank you.